Greetings. My second video. Hopefully I'll get through this one without crying and carrying on like a crazy person. Okay, where do I start? I'll start with telling you about my day so far. It's 1 o'clock. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep rubbing my nose. My nose is always itching. I've done the treadmill. Yes, I walk 3 miles outside every day, or I go on the treadmill. How? I tip, I turn, I weave, I wave, I sway. I look like a drunk, but I do it. So I've already done the treadmill because it's too cold and, as you see, it's miserable New York weather. That's our pool, by the way, or what's left of it for the winter. Anyway, so treadmill. Just got a cake in the oven for my son, my youngest. He turns 25. Oh, God. Anyways, it's his birthday tomorrow on Thanksgiving. And now I'm on the couch. I'm in our 4-season room. It's my favorite room during the day instead of being in my bed. My bed's my second favorite place because I get too depressed laying in the bed. So that's what I've done so far. My night was horrid. I took 0.25 milligram of Klonopin at 10 o'clock, fell asleep, woke back up at 1:30 with panic and anxiety. Somehow I was able to doze back off and on the rest of the night and kept waking up with a lot of anxiety. So clearly the Klonopin is doing crap. And I'm not sure what I should do about that. So let me go back to give a little bit more history of what I was telling you yesterday. History of migraines. At the age of 18, started having classic migraines, which you get the aura and lose your sight for about 20 minutes, and then you get the horrendous headache. In my early 20s, was put in the hospital for 3 days, diagnostic testing, because I showed severe signs of having MS, but nothing came up positive for MS. Have a history of having benign positional vertigo. The very first time I was in my very early 30s, woke up in the middle of the night thinking I was having a stroke because, hold on, need to go and let my doggy in. Hold on. This is one of two. This is Chewbacca. Chewie, get your baby. Hold on. Sorry about this. Get your baby? Good. He's got his baby. His baby has to go outside and pee with him every time he goes. That's what he does. He pees with his baby. Okay, where was I? So, yeah, the first time I was rushed to the hospital because I woke up in the middle of the night with the spinning room and thought I was having a stroke. Benign positional vertigo, given meclizine, Epley maneuver, sent home. Second time it happened, I was in church and fell right on the ground, and brothers and my husband had to pick me up and throw me in the back of somebody's van and rush me to the hospital. Second time. The third time it happened, I knew what was going on, so we didn't rush to the hospital. But so I've had that along with dizziness and off-balanced my whole life, as soon as the migraine started. And also and that has brought on anxiety. I've had anxiety since the migraine started. Never treated the anxiety until I was in my early 40s. I started having insomnia and went 3 full nights with no sleep, went to the doctors freaking out, and that was when psych meds were first introduced to me. So I was given Zoloft and Klonopin, and as soon as the Zoloft kicked in, I was able to drop the Klonopin and get on with life. But I only stayed on the Zoloft for like 6 months because I was feeling perfect. Went right off of it. Didn't know you have withdrawal from that. And so went off the Zoloft, and within a couple months was back on it. And then did that again was on it for 8 months, went off of it. Okay, so 3 times a charm. The third time I just stayed on it. Stayed on it for 6 years straight and did fine. Had issues with migraines and dizziness and, things like that, but nothing that was halting my life. I, raised 3 children. I worked at their Christian private school, teaching 1st and 2nd grade. At the age of 50, went back to school to become a nurse, became a nurse, Started working in a hospital. Life was going okay. And then in 2012, I changed positions within the hospital. And the stress of that, I think, triggered something in my body because I started getting horrendous stomach problems, and not nausea, but the pain in my epigastric area was so intense, and I was losing 2 pounds a week. I ended up losing a total of 55 pounds. Went to a GI, and they did an endoscopy and found that I had H. pylori, and it was so severe. I have the pictures. Your mucosa in your stomach should be pinkish red, but mine was bright tomato red. I mean, the doctor even said, holy cow, you are sick. Yeah, because H. pylori are like little corkscrews, and they had screwed into the mucosa of my stomach, and it just was inflaming it. So PrevPac is how they treated it for, I think it's 2 weeks they do it. No better, still sick, but tested negative for H. pylori. So they did the breath test, and within the second 15-minute interval of blowing into the breathing machine, it went off the charts, and she said, we can shut this down. You have SIBO. We don't need to do the 90. It's usually a 90-minute test. No, you have SIBO, and you have it very bad. Treated with that. Still no better, but tested negative for that after treatment. So was told that, hold on. Oh, sorry. I'm sure that made anyone who was dizzy really dizzy. Gotta fix my, there we go. Anyways, told that left with severe IBS. Yeah. Okay, so that's in the summer of 2013. I'm written out of work. I'm not working. Doesn't look good for me to ever go back to work because now my body is also hurting from head to toe. Aching, sore to the touch. Feels like somebody had just kept hitting me with a baseball bat. Went to see a rheumatologist and an endocrinologist and was told that I had fibromyalgia. So now I have fibromyalgia, I have IBS, I have migraine-associated vertigo, and I have GAD, general anxiety disorder. So permanently disabled. Pretty easy, especially at my age. Being told, as I told you yesterday, that it is all benzo related. You're on a benzo. Oh, because when the stomach started, I went back onto Klonopin because I was having anxiety at work because my stomach hurt and I was getting dizzy and the anxiety started rushing in for no apparent reason. Nothing had changed, but I was having anxiety, and so started taking small doses. And by the time I was written out of work, I was taking it all day long. I wasn't taking 0.25 3 times a day. So 0.75 milligrams, which is not a whole lot, but enough. And so, getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and people are saying, oh, it's your benzo. I went on Benzo Buddies and was told it's all benzo. So I crossed over to Valium and started doing a taper, and tapered, like I said yesterday, all the way down to 4 milligrams from 15, and jumped ship because I was a mess. I was, at that point, non-functioning at all. And went on to Ativan and functioned. And thank God I did, because my husband came down with Guillain-Barré, which is a life-threatening disease. He was hospitalized for it. Praise God, he came through. But I honestly know that if I had not gotten back onto Ativan during that time, I would not have been able to even be at the hospital with him. I was that messed up. The Ativan got me through that period of time with him being hospitalized for that. And it was very scary. 8 months was on it and decided, oh, it's time to go off again. It's time. Benzo related. I'm getting sicker. It's going to make me worse. So crossed back over to Valium, and I've been on Valium ever since then. That was 2015, 14, beginning of 15. So from 15 until now, I've been on the Valium slowly. Cutting it. Got from 15 milligrams again all the way down to 1, which was just a week ago. I was down to 1, and I've been on 1 for months. Been on 1 since June of this year. I got down to 1 milligram and stayed there. But so sick, I can barely drive. because I can barely walk straight. I'm so off balance. I have MDDS. That's my symptoms is MDDS, where I feel like I'm rocking or swaying, swaying. And I'll even say to my husband or my family, do you see my head moving? Because in my head, I'm moving. I'm doing this. And then the ground feels like it's doing this. And I feel like I'm walking on cotton or on a trampoline. And it's 24/7. It never stops to one degree or another. I shouldn't say that it's, that severe 24/7, but I have something going on in my head 24/7. Sicker, getting sicker and sicker. Cutting, nothing's making me better. People are telling me it's all benzos, and I'm like, I don't know. And somebody reaches out to me on Facebook on the Migraine Associated Vertigo board and says, have you ever been tested for Lyme? Because holy cow, you sound just like me, and I don't take benzos, and you have exactly all my same symptoms. Like, really? Well, I was tested for Lyme in the summer of 2015 because my left knee swelled up to the size of my thigh for no reason at all. Didn't do anything to it. Just one night it swelled. And it stayed like that for 2 weeks. And that's when my doctor tested me for Lyme for the first time. And it came back negative, and we just decided, oh, well. But that's when Lyme started being introduced to me. And, I started thinking about, And I started researching it. My husband is the king of researching, and so he did a lot of researching. And he was convinced I had Lyme. Took me to a Lyme literate naturopath because that was the only person even remotely close to where we lived, and that was an hour and a half away. Didn't like her at all because she diagnosed me over the phone. She told me, oh, you have Lyme, come in, but you have Lyme. And then when I came in, because I had an IGeneX text. Let me back up. I did order the IGeneX, came back with only bands 31 and 41 is positive, which is a negative, even IGeneX a negative. Brought that in, and she, without ever laying a hand on me or ever even examining me, just sat there and looked at the test and talked to me for I don't know how long, diagnosed me with Lyme. Sent me home with $700 worth of supplements and tinctures and stuff, and I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. I said, this isn't right. I would have being a medical clinician, I want proof. It's hard for me to accept anything without medical proof. So I went several more months with denying my problem, but getting so much sicker. And then my GP, God bless his soul, he had a history with knowing somebody who went through this themselves and kept coming up negative and ended up in a wheelchair and losing almost their whole life. And then, 10 years later, finding out it was Lyme all that time. So he kept encouraging me to, because his hands were tied. Without a positive blood test, he couldn't prescribe any medications for me for Lyme, or he'd lose his license. And he was actually a PA. He wasn't my GP. He was the PA. But anyways, he was encouraging me to look out more out of the box. He said, you're a very complex case. You've got so many things going on, and look out of the box. I went to neurologist, had 48-hour EEG because they thought I was having mini seizures. That came back negative. I had MRI, had 2 MRIs on my brain. Nothing. Did a second IGeneX test, and it came up the same, 41 and 31. And that brings me to the end of September. I said October. It was like the beginning of October that my husband we found this Lyme literate medical doctor who was in Connecticut, 5 hours from where I live in New York. And my husband was like, I'm taking you because you need help. Something's got to be done for you. And you're not getting better, you're getting worse. I mean, honestly, I can barely drive, very rarely drive because it's not safe. I don't do anything. I don't cook. I clean, and cleaning being I do one thing for the day, and that's it. Hold on. I'm going to take you with me because I don't know how to stop and start these and have them. So I'm going to go and get my cake, or my son's cake, out of the oven. So let me set you up here for just a minute. I guess I'll get better at this one as I go along, right? Oh, I forgot to get, hold please, I need to get, see, this is a lot of work for me because I don't cook. I don't do anything. But I need to check my son's cake, and it is not done by any stretch of the imagination. So we will keep going. Let me set the alarm for another 10. Let's see how that works. Okay. Now I don't even remember where I was. Lyme brain. So we go down to see the Lyme literate medical doctor with my second IGeneX test, and he actually wants to draw on a third. He draws another IGeneX and Quest, and is now looking for co-infections. Comes back, and same stinking bands, 31 and 41, come back on IGeneX, but Babesia and Bartonella come up positive also. And he told me from the very beginning, you have Bartonella because you are so neurological. And he told my husband, because my husband said, will we be able to treat this without antibiotics? And he said, no, your wife is so severe. She's very ill. We have to hit her with both barrels, strong and hard. And then we can back off and pulse and do other stuff. But as sick as she is, this is how we're going. So I'm not going to go much longer. I don't want, this is already a very long video. But so as I told you, I'm on the protocol with antibiotics and some different medication, different supplements, and I'll show you those tomorrow possibly. Please subscribe. I guess that's what you're supposed to do, is subscribe, and then it will come up in your feed. And also, please leave me comments. I appreciate the couple people who already have. It means so much to me. But if anyone has the same situation, that you're on a benzo and you've been battling benzo and you have Lyme, tell me what's going on with you and how you're dealing with it. And because I'm at a crossroads right now that if I don't get some sleep and some rest from my anxiety, I can't fight the Lyme. So I'm going to sign off. God bless you all. I pray that this will end up being an encouragement to somebody. I know that watching other people's videos, vlogs, has been a huge encouragement to me. Okay, so see you later. Bye-bye from Lainey the Insaney.